Oh, hey everybody. Welcome to another stream. Sorry that time got adjusted on all of you guys and all that other fun stuff. That was quite the mess. I ended up having to stay late for work and I made my life pretty complicated, so I tried to sneak around and get as much stuff as I possibly could. Alright, we got our bearings. I think we're good to go now. How's everybody doing? Hey, what's up, JZG? Alright, let's do this thing. Feel like I want to definitely upgrade my situation here. Sludgeball is definitely nice, but I want to see if I got some other good stuff. I mean, I could just go... Actually, no, you can't go TPK in this one, so this is actually probably as good as it gets. Because I definitely want to have Curse, can't use Mirage-y. I don't even know if I'm missing other people that might be able to Curse. I know there's like 3 of them total. What do you do? What? No, don't like you. Sludgeball it is. And I'm going to level up my Sentinel. Hey, what's up, Starfang? I mean, I could use those teams. This is basically like your level 500 team that you'd be looking to use. I would admittedly use Titan, but I'm trying to level up my Sentinel, so I'm just going to go with that instead. But I need to level up my Hall of Guardians a lot, so off we go. I'm still like super frazzled from having to run home and reschedule my stream and all this other nonsense. It's like been such a mess. Is there a way to farm glory other than PvP? So what you could be doing is delving, actually. So like what I'm doing right now, you actually do get glory out of doing this. So this is a way that you can totally do that. But as far as like farming glory, aside from like the challenges they just released and what I'm doing currently, that's pretty much like your glory farming opportunities. Seems like you guys all have these like awesome teams that you would want to be using right now. Appreciate it, Vinoivi. Definitely appreciate it. What team are you using Vash with here? Like Divinia, Vash, something something? That sounds like what you would end up doing if you were trying to run this. I guess what I don't like about Vash is that you're just straight up sacrificing a unit, so like that 4th slot. Like, in order for that to even work, I'm assuming you'd have to do, like, what, Jar of Eyes? Divinia? Vash? Some troop you don't care about? Probably a Leprechaun, maybe? Is that, like, the team that you guys end up running it with? That sounds right. Also, everybody make sure you, say a prayer or two. Oh, Vash for the curse. He didn't pop up. I'm guessing he's a 4.5 version of it, which is why it didn't pop up when I searched it. We could totally try and make a Vash team. Why not? After this one, we're making a Vash team. You've inspired me, JCG. We're gonna do it. You gotta see. I feel like I'm still like relaxing from having to run. You have no idea. I was super frazzled from like running back. Like I had to get to my car. I tried to see if I could reschedule the stream for like a half-hour later from my car. And apparently the YouTube app on the phone is not very useful in this regard, so I ended up like having to use this weird-ass third-party browser to try and force it into desktop mode. It was a mess. But we're here. You're making me curious about Vash now. Did I somehow forget that he curses? That one. Alright, yeah. We'll totally go Vash next time around. Whoa! PvP, muscle memory. That team looks totally legit. You get the Dust Storm from Harpy Mage, explosions right away. Running that with Sentinel will actually be easier because since Sentinel struggles to get mana off the top like this, Harpy Mage will definitely help in that regard. That team seems totally legit. We're definitely gonna make a Vash specific team. We're gonna find a use for this Vash character. Probably should have eaten that guy first. Oh wells. But it's kind of like we have to make a troop that's someone that we kind of sacrifice unless we're just using Vash purely for the cursing, which I guess is okay, but that feels like a really awkward way to do that. The song's really bothering me. I had to change that. Holy crap. A little too aggressive. A little too frazzled for that nonsense. But I like the idea of trying to use Vash just for the curse. I just need to make sure that I do it on, I need that 4th troop to basically be, like, completely useless. Like someone that we don't care about in any capacity. I'm basically just cursing that guy right now because my Eater Man is currently out of commission. So I might as well start stacking damage in some way. I'm still entangled. Did not check close enough. This is like one of those frustrating fights where it's like, we all know I'm gonna win, but you're gonna make me sit here and earn the crap out of it for some reason. I will bleed you to death if I have to. Double Tina? I mean, that would totally work. Bard would also be interesting. I don't know, I'm really digging this idea of just like coming up with some Vash stealth team, but I want it to be a team that can scale to actually 500, because it's no fun if it doesn't scale to 500. I totally want it to be something that like I could be beating the top tier delve with if possible. It seems like it should be possible. I mean, if Vash is cursing, I mean, I just need High King Iron Gut, and I just need a Mountain Crusher, and then it's really, I've already got the curses coming out of Vash, so then it's just some other person that we'd want to stick there to make it all kind of sing and be beautiful. I totally think that's a thing we can do. I'm determined. That's that Razor armor for you. On Sentinel. Punching people like 1,000 damage. It was so funny when I was making my video this morning and I just saw that I had basically no levels in Halls of Guardians. That made me feel all kinds of special. I was like, here, let me show you this cool team that I'm going to use. Thing was like non-existent levels. There was a 4 match there. Playing too carelessly. Oh, but I set up Gimlet. Still win. Meant it. I mean, I had Gimlet a couple times in there. No egg. And it still hatches. Die. Eat it. Nom nom nom. Hey, what's up, gamer? Now I just want to like run through these as quickly as possible so I can start trying that Vash team. I'm like so pumped to try it. Like, I would love to have a reason to enjoy Vash. I feel like you kind of have to use Jar of Eyes though, because you're going to want a team that has summon capability if you're using it. Like, if I want to actually use Vash for, you know, more than just cursing people. Because, like, if I'm just cursing people, then I could just totally use them as is, but I kind of want to properly use them. That was a beautiful Gimlet setup. Heck yeah for that. Just realized I got a Raven down there, so I need to, like, actually care about killing it. Eat the bird! No. Just to say, I feel like they're so close. Alright, we got him anyway. Hooray for us. Now we just go for the fatality. Gimlet. Skull Smashy for the win. Yeah, Iron Gut definitely makes life a lot easier when it comes to delving. Like, basically, since he's a mythic, he covers 3 colors. Like, it's extremely rare that you're running into a delve that you can't use Iron Gut in. So, I mean, when you have Iron Gut, delving just becomes that much easier, which is definitely a plus. You're not going to see me complain about that in any respect. I kind of don't want to do this. I'd rather have the brown, actually. No. But this is now the creative Vash Delve team stream. We're totally going to do that. That's definitely a thing that I'm excited about now. Because, like, when Vash came out, and I know if you saw my one other video, I got cheeky about it, where I was just like, he's trash. I don't think he's, like, outright trash, but he's definitely someone that you have to be very weird with to get the most value out of him. And, like, when you have to be weird, that's generally not an effective team. Like, you're not going to have a ton of success with a team that's got this awkward gimmick that requires that much setup. But if we can design a team that actually, like, properly uses him in some contexts, that would be super cool. Or at least just has him as like an extra nuke if you need it kind of thing. But I hope you're all saving those keys for some Aquaticus. I'm like more excited for Aquaticus than I am anything else. The event this time around is so fun and easy. Like, being able to use dragons makes it so much nicer. Like, there's so many great dragon options that, like, it's impossible to do poorly at it, honestly. It feels like... I know that's not literally true, but it feels like it's, like, that true. Where it's just, like, there's, you know, Divinia's there, you've got, like, World Breakers in there. I mean, the new Mace of Dragons weapon I'm pretty excited to use in PvP context. Like, I've actually made a PvP team that's, like... The only thing holding it back is the fast mana start. That's the one thing that dragons are really lacking right now. That's kind of hurting their potential. But that team is sick once it starts going, and it doesn't take too much to get it going. It takes just enough that in tier 3 PvP fights, like, you might lose 1 or 2 just because it's not moving fast enough, which is kind of frustrating. Like, when you know that your team composition's better, but you might lose anyway. Which I guess implies that your team comp isn't actually that great. But the team's really sick. And I don't know why, I don't know if you guys have the same experience, but for whatever reason when I use Massive Claws, it doesn't seem to get a 4-5 match as often as some of the other weapons do for whatever reason. Like, I feel like the, what is it, the giant version of it, Shegra's Spine, I feel like I get a 4-5 match out of that thing literally every single time I use it. Whereas with this one, I seem to be fighting it a little bit, like it doesn't come as easily. And I know there's like, that's probably purely RNG, because there's no reason why that should be true. It just kind of feels like it's true. I don't know, it's my experience so far with it. It's still an amazing weapon though. I actually was messing around with an Elamogrim team of all things. Like, I was using Shadow Dragon of all things too. Shadow Dragon, Elamogrim, what was the team? It was like Mace of Claws, what was that other troop? Probably Divinia? Yeah, it was Divinia. It was Mace of Claws, Divinia, Shadow Dragon, Elamogrim. That team's actually pretty decent too. I don't think it's top tier or anything, but I was just looking for an excuse to mess around with Elamogrim. Yeah, so like that's what I use Sludgeball for, is for that curse. What would you say is a decent obtainable team? Are you talking about obtainable team to be doing delves with? Because if you're doing delves, like any attainable team that you're going to be able to make is going to be using Mang, like almost certainly. Vash. Alright, so we're definitely doing... Actually, no, I think we're going to go Jar for this. Because that also takes blue, and I need summoning if I'm going to try and use Vash for actual Devour. Alright, so those are the 3. Actually, that works nice because High King Iron Gut also takes blue. I'll lose out on barriers, but I might just happily match brown anyway. So now I need... I mean, like... I mean, Scurvy Dog also, Drowned Sailor? I don't think he fits, but Scurvy does. Scur. So like this team works. We're gonna delve with that. Banner-wise, we're gonna switch to a blue-brown? Blue-green. I mean, yellow I don't really care about. They're gonna fill with the explosions kind of regardless. Let's try that. For 50 to 100 low-level stuff, so like honestly the best thing that you can possibly do at that level is try and abuse some of the early troops that you get access to. So like Rowan, if you've ever heard of Rowan, he's somebody that allows you to basically nuke the entire enemy team like really easily for like a decent amount of damage. So like someone like Rowan is someone you can abuse super early. Also there's a guy, oh, what's that dude's name? I should have switched these two, I think, because Vash I'm casting kind of as an afterthought. What's the other dude's name? He's the guitar player from Pan's Veil. It's like Elwyn, I believe. Elwyn's another guy that also does really strong damage early game because he's actually boosting by like a really strong ratio, so he's somebody else that you can use. Alright, wait. They haven't fixed Vash yet. Oh no! I can't actually devour this guy because of the barrier. Sentinel class is not the way to go with this team. This team would actually be better as a Titan because I can't eat that guy now. It's kind of funny. But basically, like, use a team with Mountain Crusher on Keen. That's kind of like, if you have Mountain Crusher as your weapon, then basically just put your strongest troops in there with him. And that's going to do, like, everything you need it to. Actually, I guess I could just use him as, like, a straight damage shot if he's barriered like that. I mean, that kind of works. So for folks that don't know, Vash normally eats a person on your team, but they don't have it set up right now where it'll dispel first. So if you have a barrier up, he'll actually just do like a nuke. So that's something that you can kind of do just to like set up, if you just want to poke with Vash damage, you can totally do that. But yeah, for early game teams, you're definitely wanting to look for a Mountain Crusher is like your primary weapon. Like, you should pretty much never not be using Mountain Crusher early on, honestly. Mountain Crusher is pretty much going to be your best friend for like the foreseeable future. But then you're just looking for, like, if you have any kind of mana converting troops, that's definitely something you want to invest into. Because mana converting troops, like, the enemy teams are almost always set up in a way, like, even if you look at this team, like, there's not a lot of synergy in the teams that you're going to fight early on, and early on the mana generation that other teams are going to have is a lot weaker than the mana generation that you're going to have. So if you're just able to attack very, very quickly, like, even if another team has, like, Infernus on it, for instance, like, you're still going to be able to beat them up really badly. How much damage is this doing? 36? That's actually, like, notable damage at this level. This team's not doing the thing that we want it to be doing yet. I'm gonna do it now. So we're just gonna keep eating that man down there. Yeah, like, I saw a lot of people on the forums talking about that, how it doesn't have the Dispel on it. Like, that's it's a pro and a con, I guess. Like, it's one of those things where when you want to use it, it's a con, but theoretically, if you're just looking to do the nuke damage after the fact, it could be a pro, so it really honestly just depends what you want to do with it. But it doesn't really make sense that a black bear, you know, I think that troop is like a rare, like, would actually have a better method of killing yourself, so it doesn't really make a ton of sense. I kind of sort of really want to be casting other stuff right now. We're just going to keep doing this until we get Mr. Iron Gut up. So that's cool. This whole barrier thing is really messing up my game, though. I was looking to be constantly spamming this guy. We're gonna have to remake this team with a Titan next time around. I'll put my Titan leveling on hold so we can mess around with this. Honestly, I'm not as much of a fan of Trickster's Shot as I am Mang. Like, as cool as it is to have Trickster's Shot, like, Mang I find is a little more reliable, I guess, because, like, skulls can kind of always appear whenever. So it's kind of one of those things where, I find it's easier to build around skull damage, even though Trickster's Shot in theory would be better. You need to be having the right kinds of troops with it, otherwise you might just be going through it more slowly. But I mean, that team that you said sounds totally fine in theory. Like, there's no reason why you couldn't run that. Yeah, bring that brown mana lower. Alright, sweet. Get to start eating people. Eat. I wish the stats carried over from round to round. That would make it so much cooler. Probably should have eaten Florian there, but that's fine. Nope. Not catching me. I mean, Earth's Fury kind of fits into the same category. Like, they're both great weapons, like, don't get me wrong. It's just kind of one of those things where in order to use them effectively, it's kind of like it requires a little bit more build-up, which sometimes the game will allow you to do and other times the game won't allow you to do. Like, if you're struggling with certain fights, it's going to be harder to do something like that. So, like, if you're struggling with fights, I think Mang's the more effective weapon because it'll allow you to kind of, like, punch through. If you're in the driver's seat, then, like, Earth's Fury and Trickster's Shot will be a lot better. But, I mean, something like Earth's Fury, for instance, like, if you don't have it in the, if like, your top-level troop, which is just going to be a regular troop, isn't able to survive, like, massive amounts of damage, like, it's going to be a problem. Like, normally when you're running hero in the top slot, for instance, you'll have barriers on browns. There's not really any other troops that can do that kind of defensive capability in the top slot. So, like, when you're running those other kinds of teams, you're kind of, like, planning on losing people. Which can be fine or not, depending. So, I mean, admittedly, I would much rather try and build something around Mang with, like, skull converters. I find that to be a lot more consistent. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, it's funny, because we all talk about how amazing Trickster's Shot and Earth's Fury are, and they are. Like, they are awesome. But it's like, it's not worth trying to build a weird team around them just because the community in general has decided they're amazing. Like, they are, but Mang teams are probably better most of the time. So it's kind of like, you know, what are you really trying to do at that point? Just, like, create a cool team because you can, or actually creating the best team that you can? I'm just gonna cast that for fun. Bop. Sure. Just eat something. Oh yeah, I mean, Mang can pretty much be used in literally everything. I mean, you can build an effective Mang lineup for literally anything and everything. And it's really not that hard to build around for it, honestly. Like, just pick a class like Titan. I would say Titan over Sentinel if you're going for it. Because at least Titan you'll get a little bit of extra mana jumping, which will help you with mana generation. And then just, you know, figure out a way to skull spam from there. And even if you can't skull spam, just figure out a way to get lots of brown mana flowing so that way you can actually get barriers as often as you'd like. So, I mean, Mang is pretty easy to build around. Like, the trick with every single Mang lineup is there a way I can get a skull converter in here? And if I can get a skull converter in here, how else can I get brown mana? So I constantly have barriers up, and then that's like literally every single brown team. 20% chance to devour. This guy's a beast. I'm not sure if I could build this team any harder with a mana generation perspective unless I just straight up abandon. Oh wow, he's indigestible. That's pretty funny. So I spawned a guy who I literally can't devour. That's kinda funny. Yeah, I don't know. I think I still prefer Sludgeball in that scenario then, because what Sludgeball lets you do that having Vash in here just randomly doing stuff doesn't let me do is like Sludgeball also will help you with mana generation since he's destroying like a 25 block of stuff out there. It's a little easier to actually get the mana that you want, and he's also cursing the guy that's up top, so it's actually pretty easy to use him. So Sludgeball is someone that I pretty much literally never use in any other context, but when it comes to delving, he's actually pretty good. It's like where he's most useful, I should say, at least from what I found. So Reflect, if you've seen Reflect right now, you have some troop that's giving you a random status effect. So if like you're running the Hierophant class, if you have Divinity on your team, those are the troops right now that are really giving you Reflect. So like Divinia, for instance, in the most recent invasion event, like I have Reflect on pretty much like probably 1 to 3 of my troops at any given time, just because I'm 4 or 5 matching constantly. So if you've seen Reflect, that's the only way you can cast it. There's no troop right now that actually will manually cast Reflect in any way. So if you've seen it because of something like that. And Reflect is pretty cool. I mean, folks probably need to remember that it doesn't protect you from the damage. So like, you know, if that person's hitting you for 5,000 damage, in theory, you're still taking all of that. So it's not going to protect you like a barrier would, but it does give you some level of protection. Right now it's bugged in the sense that if someone tries to do an armor destroying ability, it'll actually, like the way the game treats armor right now, it actually treats it like you just did infinite damage essentially. So if you are actually, if you have like Megavore on your team, for instance, and then you try and Reflect, like one of them has Reflect and you cast Megavore, you're just gonna instantly kill your Megavore. So it's not really working in a great way right now. Aw, I wanted to see if we'd actually eat him. Yeah, the Lapina type troops can totally do it too. I actually generally don't use those guys all that much, but they absolutely are other people that can do that. I think Reflect is pretty cool. I almost wish it was like 100% Reflect or something like that. Like I kind of want to give the other team a reason to not feel confident like attacking me. Because as it stands right now, I actually haven't tested it yet to see if reflected damage will get bounced off a barrier. I suspect it would. But I kind of want to see how that all plays out. Because there's definitely going to be some like weird, funny interactions that you can do now with like Reflect in the game. Especially if like the troop that did the spell effect also has Reflect. Is it going to do, like let's say they were nuking for 100 damage, is it like they hit you for 100, you reflect back 50, and then they reflect back another, what, 25? Is that how that would work? On paper that seems like that's how that would work, but that seems like a super awkward interaction. Ugh! Missed it. I was in the middle of dragging the mouse before I could even glance at it. So happens when you play too fast. I'm so mad I can't eat this guy. I'm eating Iron Gut. Blat! Don't even care. When we're playing at this level, let's just do stuff. Rest in peace, Iron Gut. Super video gaming music. I want more mana. I mean, I bet he's delicious. I think you're right, though. I don't know if I've ever seen Iron Gut get eaten before. I created our Gargantuar, though. How can I lose? Gargantuar is only the best troop the game's ever seen. Bye, Gargantuar. Did his job. Level 10 chest, at least, with that weird-ass team. Alright. Let's come up with some other weird teams. In an experimental mood. Alright, assuming we're going Iron Gut. Let's see what else we got to play with. I know I could go Chief Dargon. Let's go with someone that can increase skill points. Base rarity. Who do we have to play with that? No. Wild Queen? Just go straight berserk mode? And she does take brown. Alright, we're just gonna go crazy mode. I need a weapon that's gonna make me mana. That's like purple, probably? If I'm putting Iron Gut up top, I'm gonna want to boost his defense. But I need mana generation more than anything. We'll switch to Titan. Can't use a Leprechaun to pop it off right away. 4 Iron Guts. I wish I had 4 Iron Guts. I know a lot of people in my guild keep trying to tell me to use Tina. I mean, it'd be easy enough to just make like a pure Tina team. So like if you were just trying to make like a quick and dirty early game team, you could actually use this PvP team that I use. And then what colors are we? Brown and yellow. So I mean Harpy Mage even, right? No, yeah, Harpy Mage. So I mean, this is your shoot Tina off 75 times team. I mean, I don't even need Sludgeball in that scenario. Let me see. What else can I just chuck in there? Just for funsies. Infernus actually wouldn't be blocked on mana. Jotner for barriers. He doesn't take any brown though. Obsidius just for kicks? Sure. Banner. Brown. And red, it looks like. That one. Yeah. You want Arachnine Weaver instead? I'm good with that. What? I saw him sitting right there. What? I mean, Arachnine Weaver Tina is like a sick combo in general. Like, I love Arachnine Weaver and Tina. Together, they're just like amazing, because Tina's true damage, just hitting anybody, basically just nets you like a free explosion with Arachnine Weaver. So it's kind of amazing. It's kind of sad that I had literally no brown, yellow, or red matches in that entire board. And I still kind of don't. 4 match. 4 match. More. I mean, as far as like low levels go, it's just gonna be dead, dead, dead. Oh, they have like spell armor. Boo on that. We'll blow up herself, because that looked like it had the most mana. You can just straight kill people. I mean, this is gonna be way faster. This won't scale to 500 at all, but this will certainly net you these kills way faster. It's definitely a fun team to use. There's definitely a PvP team with Tina and Arachnine Weaver that's like out there that we need to find. I keep trying to build it and it just doesn't seem to come together. Like, you're always kind of like a little slower than you want to be. But in theory, Tina and Arachnine Weaver are like a perfect pairing. Lava Troll. Lava Troll's doing, what, browns and reds? Is that right? I don't really mess around with the troll troops all that. Well, not the mixed type troll troops that much. Whoa! That was not what I clicked. I mean, if this pulls up purples, that's no fun. It's probably safer. Zap, zap, zap. The problem with mixed type trolls is that they can kind of overwrite the mana that's getting made, so it's a little unreliable. It's like kind of the biggest problem I have with those guys. If it was guaranteed that they wouldn't overlap, then they would have so much more value, but as they stand right now, they're kind of a lot more inconsistent than I would prefer. Totally want Arachneid Weaver to do the killing blow. Just let me do it! Bap! Killing with Arachneid Weaver is always the best. Oh, I'm not spinning a single wheel. You guys are like the most beautiful people on the planet. You didn't even ask me to spin it. I don't know what you guys are thinking. You're so nice. Such saints. So Matt, I would not build around those kinds of skull converters, because they're not like Shegra's a skull converter in a sense, but I'm thinking more along the lines of people that will straight up convert like one color to another. Those will be a lot more consistent, like you can actually use them in a way that you can predict, versus the other ones. Shegra you can predict, but he's a little, I don't know, I always find Shegra a little odd to use. Shegra could work though. I would definitely prefer Shegra out of those two that you mentioned. The wheel is just some built-in thing. Like, if you have OBS Streamlabs, it's like a streaming version of OBS if you've ever used that app before. There's like a wheel spin thing in there that allows you to like customize it and do all these other dumb things to it. So I just made mine have my logo on it, made it smaller. It lets you tweak like what it says and what little chevrons are on there. So I just use the wheel. Here, I'll spin it again, because clearly I have not spun it enough. I owe you guys like 3 or 4 spins. But yeah, Matt, those are the types of skull converters I think will be a lot more consistent for you. Shegra is better than the other one that you mentioned. But I would stay away from someone like Bone Dragon, just because he's kind of like creating an element of like randomness that you probably don't want to mess around with too much. It's kind of hard to guarantee that you're going to actually create the skulls that you want with Bone Dragon. And his armor stealing thing is honestly like really, really weak, unfortunately. I wish that scaled better somehow, but since it doesn't, that's not really the one that you'd want to be using. If you don't have anything else though, I would, instead of having another skull converter, I would actually pick somebody that, change that song. Man, songs are so aggressive today. I would pick more mana generation in that instance. So like, instead of having 2 skull converters, you could just pick a skull converter like Shegra and then pair him with a mana converter like Gimlet, for instance. And Gimlet would actually fit really nicely with those two because they both take brown. So that's good. I was not playing when Bone Dragon was pre-nerf, so I'm not even aware. How busted was he? Was it that bad? Let me guess. Did they have it armor rip like 100% like Megavore style? I could see that. I feel like that's probably what he did before he was adjusted. And if that's the case, like if that's what he was doing pre-nerf, like they almost need to re-look at him, because there's troops that do that. No limit to skull spawn. That sounds awesome. That sounds so fun. That just sounds like the best kind of troop. See, like, they should keep the skull component and then just have him create, like, maybe a max of... Well, since he's a legendary, have him create, like, a max of, like, I don't know, 10 skulls, maybe? That seems like somewhat fair. Because as he stands now, like, he's basically not useful at all, which is kind of the opposite of how he should be. Like, there's basically no reason to ever use him. Like, he's kind of left in, like, frozen in time where, that troop was probably amazing, it sounds like, before, but these days, like, Bone Dragon is so useless that it's kind of like you don't even consider him. That is pretty funny. It sounds like the nerf made a lot of sense back then, but it doesn't really make any sense now. Which is kind of a shame. Those are some of those things that I wish the team would kind of, like, take another glance at. Taina. Oh yeah. Bam. It's kind of funny, a team that you could use right here would be a Diviner team. So, like, I don't know if you've ever messed around with Diviner and Tina together, but you can kind of, like, make Tina hit for, like, 500 true damage a shot. You just have to get really lucky with a lot of Diviner loops. It's kind of fun to do. It's a waste of your time, but it is fun. Which I don't think is a waste of time if you're having a grand old time. It's just a little game you play with yourself to see how much magic can you actually get Tina up to. I honestly don't know, like, what they would want to nerf about Gobtruffle if they really did, because Gobtruffle, I think, as it stands, is not really super busted. Like, maybe if they took one gem off each mana convert, like, if instead of creating, I think it's like 8 and 8, boosted by disease and poison, something like that. If that's, like, if they just took, like, maybe one off of that, that would probably be, like, as much of a nerf as you would need to do. Because the troop as he stands now, like, goblins are meant to play that way, where, like, they're supposed to loop forever. So, like, he's an extremely effective version of it, the fact that he does damage plus the mana looping stuff. So, I mean, like, if they were gonna nerf it, I would hurt the mana generation bit a little bit. But I think he's really not that crazy busted, honestly. What kind of orb we floating at? Clans, hell yeah. I'm all about clans right now. So, like, if I was gonna try and make a main team for this, you said you have Shegra. So, like, Shegra's in there. I would throw Gimlet in there. And then we have an overabundance of red. So, like, Taipan doesn't fit this delve. Yao doesn't fit this delve. Convert gems, red. Base rarity. That's no good, no good. Brown to red? Eh, that's awkward. Purple to red's better. But, Quillen would have perfect overlap with that, so that's no good. Purple we don't care about. I mean, you could use Hellcat. So, like, if you're going for a main team, this team should be good. So, like, this would get you your Mang, this would get you barriers, extra stats. I do not have all the troops in the game, but I have most. So, like, if I look at the ones I don't have, it's like a handful of mythics. So, like, it's just these. These two are trash, so I don't really care. I've just not crafted this one because I don't really care. I'm crafting Ubistet tomorrow, I think. I should have enough diamonds to get him tomorrow, so I'll just be missing these 3 at that point. So, actually, that's probably only based on those mana locks, actually. Hold on. I was gonna say, I feel like I have less than that. I thought that looked a little too cool. Let me double check. Yeah, there you go. So, Mist Shade of Zorn. I tried my ass off to get him and I never did. Plague is one that I kind of want. I think he's going to be fun to mess around with. Don't have Zul'Goth. I've got 3 Orbs of Power right now. I only just started saving for him. Ubistet I'm crafting, but I don't care about Uralai, Death, or Abyssna. Don't really care about Shade of Zorn. Don't really care about Zathanos. Winter Imp is just, I'll get him once the season rolls around. So, Of the ones I don't have, the only ones I kind of care about is Ubistat, which I'll get, Zul'Goth, which I'm working towards, and Plague, which I'll hopefully get eventually. But I pretty much have everything else. I knew that looked a little too good when I glanced. I was just like, I know I have less troops than that. That looked way more impressive. Should've just played it off. Yeah, I've got them all. Which one do you have, but never used? Oh, Death. Yeah, Death's not very good. It's kind of like I don't even know what they're thinking when it comes to Death. You know what team I haven't used yet? I think I have a Yasmin's Pride recently, and I've literally never used it before. So what do we normally do? Feels like a Gimlet would be cool. Then I want red. I think we just said Hellcat. I mean, that would just have, like, this guy's super nuking people. Running with Titan. Banner, I'd want brown and red. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's good. Never used... I basically haven't used Ketris all that much. I only got him recently, and I only got Yasmin's Pride, like, a couple weeks ago. Maybe 3 weeks ago. So I've still got more, exploration to do with these kinds of combos. Although at this level it's kind of sad because it's really no reason. So does this, whatever color I want to red. And then I'll just blast you. Yeah, I can see how that's fun. The thing I don't like is that this doesn't really do anything else. Mana generation's a little slower for that. Yeah, the kingdom stats is really what I miss the most. Like, that's really why I'm gonna end up getting all the mythics. Like, until I have that, I won't be actually happy. Just so I can get all the super sweet kingdom bonuses. You. And then I want yellow or purple for Hellcat. No such luck. Blues. Just hit that dog. Just Michael Vick the crap out of that dog. Sorry for the poor humor. Yeah, see, like, this team doesn't have... It's not as quick as I would want. Although I'm sure that the proper team would have a little bit faster mana generation than this. It just feels like this is a little slow for my liking. Because, like, once I've stolen the armor, like, this troop is just kind of sitting there doing not a whole lot. Like, at least if you're doing the other thing, you have, like Mountain Crusher, for instance, you have tons of mana generation with it. Yeah, I was having a little bit of a debate about Tina in guild chat. Because, like, Tina's a troop that I readily can ask or tell people that they should craft. But admittedly, like, Tina isn't used as much as we recommend her. Like, for Guild Wars, for instance, like, you're generally not going to ever use Tina. Just because she's too inconsistent. Like, since you can't predict where she's going to go and you have to give up your turn to cast her, it's kind of like this not fun game to play, where, you know, if you're going to use someone like Tina, it's putting yourself in a potentially bad spot. So I think that's kind of the problem when it comes to, like, someone like Tina. I mean, sure. Yeah, this team needs a different kind of mana loop, so that way I can be converting a lot more. Like, there needs to be, like, an explode in here or something. Yeah, I mean, having mech class will get you that 50% mana start, which will definitely help. It's kind of like mech is another one of those weird classes where it's like kind of good, but not quite good. It's definitely one of the better ones, just because the 50% mana start's definitely going to help it. Still could use a little more love, I think, though. I basically want every class to be as good as, like, Titan or Sunspear. Like, have the... not maybe as good, because the way the game's currently set up, it's probably never going to be as good. But I just want them to all be, like, something you want to consider. Like, hey, maybe I could use this. I want to have that thought. As it stands right now, you basically, like, never have that thought, which is just not fun. I mean, just blast it. Yeah, I definitely have to update my mythic tier list and my class tier list, I think, because I don't have Corsair on there. Trying to think if there's another class released since then. I don't think so. Might just be Corsair that I'm missing. But I do want to add those in there. I definitely want to add Aquaticus in there, though. I'm like more excited for Aquaticus than anything else by a long shot. Because Aquaticus is just going to be so nice. Like, having a blue troop that can actually depend on is going to be so much nicer for Guild Wars. Because, like, as it stands today, Blue Day on Guild Wars is always pretty rough. But with someone like Aquaticus, it's just going to be so nice. Is Corsair actually good? I would say Corsair is not that great. So, like, it has the highest blue mana generation in the game. It has access to the water tree, which is nice. The water tree is going to give you, like, a freeze at the start of the fight, which is, of course, cool. But in terms of, like, what else it does, it's kind of missing some of the other stuff. Like, it doesn't have the 50% mana start. Doesn't have like bouncing gems when you get 4/5s. So it's like, am I gonna go as far as saying it's a bad class? No, because it'll definitely allow you to do things that need blue mana. But so like, here's my keyline rant about mana generation. If you have a team that can build mana effectively, having like a bonus mana or a bonus 2 mana is probably not going to make or break your team. It might make it go like slightly faster, but it's not going to be so much faster that another team without it wouldn't be more effective. And then at that point you're trading a little extra mana, like a little extra bonus mana for all the other stuff other classes can do. So, I mean, if you ask me, would I rather have a Frost Mage or a Corsair? Like, knowing that the Frost Mage gets the Water Tree, it gets access to freeze, it gets bouncing mana, it has ability to scale its magic with every spell cast, like, I'm gonna be picking the Frost Mage, like, pretty much every single time. So, like, that's kind of why Corsair's in a weird spot. Like, I can't think of a team where, like, having a little more blue mana than my other teams is gonna really make or break the difference. Like, suddenly this team is amazing because I had a little extra mana. I just don't see it. So that's kind of like why Corsair's in this weird spot as far as I'm concerned. It does give you a lot of blue mana. But I mean, with Jar of Eyes, like, when you're thinking of who's gonna get me blue mana, you're thinking, like, Jar of Eyes, you're thinking, Daughter of Ice more recently. You're thinking of, like, Glaceon, Scurvy Dog in some respects, Drowned Sailor. I mean, all of those troops are going to be getting you a lot of mana, so, like, having a little more oomph to it doesn't really feel like it's that interesting. So, I'm kind of in a wait-and-see mode, admittedly, myself. Like, I don't see anything that's making me want to leap out of my chair and start making teams with it. Or, like, trying to. So, I mean, until someone cracks that code, like, it's kind of like, I don't know why I would waste my time. as far as like what else the class can do, it doesn't do enough. That's my perspective on the Corsair class. Yeah, so Scotty will do that. So if you have Scotty, she'll have an Ice Storm every single turn. But Scotty as a troop is also kind of flawed, so her ability basically doesn't give you any loop potential. She'll let you spawn Queen Mabs, but if you spawn a Queen Mab above a Scotty, they like mana block each other. Like she'll mana block the Scotty. So like Scotty's kind of fun when you're fighting life and death, for instance, because you can rotate out the life and death. Like if they were in the 3rd slot, one cast of Scotty will put life and death in the top slot, which is awesome. Because blessed troops when they're in the top slot are like straight garbage. Like that bless will last like a turn basically. So I mean, Scotty's cool in that respect, but like the damage she does is really low, and whatchamacallit, the Ice Storm is nice, but you could do that with a Jar of Eyes, and Jar of Eyes will allow you to loop as you're doing it. So like that's actually more effective. So if like you're interested in Ice Storms specifically, like Jar of Eyes will be better at doing that. You'll also get other benefits by using Jar of Eyes, like you'll be sapping mana from the enemy team. As you're using it, you'll potentially have summons if you need them. You'll basically have an Ice Storm constantly. So I mean, Scotty's kind of in a weird spot in that way. I don't really find a lot of use for Scotty, unfortunately. But she is a cool troop. I know I sound like I'm basically hating on like every single troop in the game right now. But it's kind of like there's some troops that are just naturally flawed, and that's kind of my issue. Like it's tough for me to try and build them into lineups when like there's other things that can do what they do potentially better. But don't get me wrong, like if you don't have Scotty, for instance, and you get a Scotty in your early game, like having a Scotty is going to be amazing. Because you can do a lot of cool gimmicky stuff with her that you wouldn't be able to do otherwise. But when you get to the end game, like she kind of really falls off. It's kind of true, unfortunately. I would agree with what JZG said. Unless that one thing is like sick, but that kind of gets back to my Tina argument. So like, Tina is amazing at damage. She will do a crap ton of damage, and she'll make herself a little survivable, but like, unfortunately what that really means is that since the damage is inconsistent, she's not someone you can really depend on to use all the time. So like, that's what prevents her. She doesn't scale either, which also kind of hurts her. Like the damage she does is the damage she does. So that kind of hurts her too. So like, as much as I tell people that you should get Tina, Tina's amazing, like, no one's using Tina in Guild Wars. You can't use Tina in high-level delves. You can't use Tina in high-level events. Like, it's kind of those are the things holding back some of those troops, unfortunately. Also, still not spinning the wheel. Let me double-check this thing. I feel like that view counter is frozen again. Unless I've been holding steady at a solid 24 this whole time. Oh, there we go. Oh, hi. Suddenly more of you joined. So I'm gonna buy some tiers here. I'll spin the wheel more aggressively so you guys have more stuff. Guardian Crown is in there, for instance, for folks that care about that. That's always kind of fun. Thanks, Goober. So like, Jar of Eyes is what I always tell people is super top tier weapon, because again, this is creating an Ice Storm every single time you cast it. So that makes it a lot more consistent. Like, this will loop into itself, and then it'll also keep your Ice Storms going, and it also mana drains, and it also summons. So like, having a Scotty instead is not really helping you. So that's a little unfortunate. Between those three, I would do Iron Gut for sure, because Iron Gut's somebody that you would actually be able to use in delves like forever. Even in some events like Tower of Doom, for instance, you can use Iron Gut. Not on the boss fight as much, but for everything else you can. So he scales, which makes him a lot more useful. So yeah, between those three, I would say Iron Gut for sure. I feel like making weird teams. I don't know. Let me just find a weird troop and build around them. I mean, I could just go pure Sunspear just for kicks. Can use my Sky Hero weapon. Just do that. I don't even need the Divinia in there, but running it with a non-Titan always makes it a little more dicey. And just go straight Dragon's Banner. At these lower levels, you can kind of get away with just messing around. You're not wrong. So, like, in my defense, in that video, what I do say is, like, if you're making, like, a delving tier list video, Iron Gut would be S tier. I think the problem is that you would honestly use Iron Gut so much more than you would use the others, which is the reason why I would tell people to get him first. If it comes down to, like, a team you would actually use more often, like, you'll use the other mythics more often than Iron Gut, but when it comes to, like, certain things more specifically, Iron Gut is definitely really, really good. Also, at the time of that video, I'm much more of, like, a PvP player than I am an event player. I've actually noticed that. That's, like, something I've been very conscious of as I've been making more video content, is that some people are very, very event-oriented, and other people are more PvP-oriented. Fortunately, like, team building mechanics are pretty consistent between the two of them, but when it comes to, like, team making, I find my mind is automatically going towards PvP versus events. So, like, a team that I extremely favor, for instance, might not be as interesting to some other folks because it's a lot more PvP oriented. Like, the troops might be more PvP oriented. So, like, when I made that video more specifically, like, Iron Gut dropped a bunch of tiers in my list because it's like, well, this dude's, like, literally only for events. And, like, more specifically, he's primarily just for delves. So since then, like, I've been trying to be a little more open-minded about other troop types and their other value. Man, I can't even tell you how good it feels to be playing Sunspear right now. I miss this class so much. I basically, like, don't ever play Sunspear anymore because it's like I have it leveled all the way and I'm trying to level my other classes. Sunspear is just, like, by far my most favorite class to be playing as. It's just always a good time. Oh, I know you're messing with me. It is something that I always think about, though. Like, I don't just make that content and then stamp it as, like, you know, it's my final say. Like, when I make my tier list update videos, I'm definitely going to always be, like, adjusting things based on, like, how I'm thinking about the game these days, where I want to go with it. That's kind of, like, what I like about the tier list video. It's not a point-in-time thing. It's definitely something that you should always be looking into, because if they ever, like, buff a troop, nerf a troop, like, there's always another reason to be glancing at somebody. Like, with all the new poison mechanics being added into the game, I feel like Scorpius might actually be somebody that has some viability that he didn't have before. I haven't messed around with it, but the sad thing, the reason that I haven't used Scorpius that much is probably the same reason I still wouldn't use him now, which is that impervious troops are still a thing. So, I mean, whenever you have an instant kill set up, like, if your team is built around the idea that you can instant kill, but the other team's impervious, then you're going to have to try and build more, like, curse kind of setup so you can punch through that. So, like, now you're starting to really limit what kind of troops you can actually even use. That's something that's always kind of hurting you in that respect. Like, if it really limits, like, who it could even run with, it's not so fun. I was, like, similar to the Warden rant that I went on, like, why the Warden class isn't necessarily so great. It's because, like, the troops that you can actually even use with it are so limited, because you have to be using Forest Guardian basically all the time, and if you have to be using Forest Guardian, then you might as well be using Moon Rabbit. Hey, what's up, Mike? So, like, if you're already using Forest Guardian and Moon Rabbit and your hero, like, you've got a troop to play around with at that point. And it's not like that team is so busted and amazing that it's, like, worth doing it. Like, if it was so busted and amazing, it would be the meta already. Or maybe just literally nobody else looks at the Warden class. I mean, I actually did run an effective Warden team this week just messing around. Like, it is good, but it's also not great. So it's kind of, it's not exactly inspiring me to play around with it too much more. Sunspear's so good. Triple skull damage is just like, makes life so much more fun. This is definitely not a team you would ever use later, but it is a fun team to use for now. I can't believe I didn't get a single 4 match and all that. It's bananas. And now we go on a triple skull rampage. Dead, dead, dead. Sunspear. Buy yours today. That's also probably why in my class tier list video I rate Sunspear so highly. Is because I care about PvP so much. That's why I always say like Sunspear is literally the best class in the game, because it is literally the best class in the game when it comes to PvP. But outside of PvP, it's extremely rare that you're gonna run an event where like you can survive without barriers like that. But if you're PvPing and you're not running Sunspear, I'm almost positive you could be making a better team. Sunspear is just that effective. Desire everything you could ever want it to do. Maybe that'll be my April Fool's joke. I'll literally just sit in front of my camera and rant about Sunspear for as long as I possibly can. See how many like minutes/hours I can go just talking about the Sunspear class. I bet you if I wanted to, I could literally talk about the Sunspear for over an hour, easy. You want me to do Sunspear rant now? Do you really want me to do a Sunspear rant right now? Alright, I'll give you a little more about Sunspear. So it's the only class in the game that will literally get you a Firestorm every turn. You ask for it, I'll give you a little bit, just a taste. It's the only class that, you know, that thing that we just said makes Scotty kind of interesting. Sunspear does that for red mana. I would argue that red troops are the best troops in the game. All the highest damage potential troops are all red, for the most part. Tina's red, Infernus is red, Voice of Orpheus is red, Ketris is red. Like, all the troops that you care about and we recommend and rate as top tier are all red. So it's kind of like you want red mana by default because of that. It tangles somebody right at the start. It gets triple skull damage. You freeze somebody right at the start. Divinia takes red and she's my favorite defensive troop in the game. It's like there's literally no downside to this class. Literally none. We'll ignore the fact that it doesn't get 50% mana start, it doesn't get Lightning Strike, that it has no synergy whatsoever with Raksha. We'll forget all of that stuff. It's just one of those things where it just kind of doesn't matter. Like, it's just so good. So, like, the 50% mana start is, like, the balancing effect, but here's the way that Sunspear balances it for itself. Between that Entangle start and the Freeze start, that's your time to get mana if you need it. So, like, while the other team is sitting there messing around with, like, you know, matching random skulls that they can't do anything with, you're out there just grabbing mana. So it's kind of like you're just naturally already kind of set up to not have to worry about 50% mana start because of it, which is so fun. Like, I genuinely don't believe there's any coincidence that my win rate when I can use Sunspear in a Guild Wars event is dramatically higher than when I cannot. And I chop that up to two things. Like, A, it's familiarity. Like, Sunspear is my most played class, I would argue. Well, that's actually probably not too true. It's probably Titan just because of events, but it's definitely the class that I prefer the most, and I'm very used to its playstyle. I'm very used to all the troops that you can use, all the weird interactions they can do, how the AI responds to it. Like, I'm just the most used to it, so that probably helps. But just as far as like a class, it also, I think, just does the best stuff. And the class is amazing starting at level 20. I mean, it's amazing right away, but it gets even more amazing at level 20, because that's when you get access to the Entangle bit of it, I'm pretty sure. Actually, that might be level 10. So, I mean, you might even get it, like, earlier than that. Ugh. Ooh, Orb. Hell yeah. Yeah, the whole wind tree is garbage. Like, I don't like a single talent in the wind tree, I'm pretty sure. I don't think I like a single one. And that's not a good spot to be. Just gonna go right on ahead and spin that again. And also, from a weapon perspective, it's got the best mana generating weapons in the game. Between Flammifer and Sky Hero. Like, both of those weapons are super, super nice as far as mana generation goes. There it is. There's the Cody code. Hey, what's up, G-Man? I'm glad you made it too. Yeah, you came just at the tail end of my impromptu Sunspear rant. Which I guess is, like, either lucky or unlucky of you, depending on your perspective. Like, just killing people on a whim like that is just so fun. It's like, dead. Dead. Dead, dead, dead. I don't know. When there's events going on, like, it pains me to tell people not to run it with Sunspear. Actually, someone in my guild came up with a Sunspear event team to use, not this one, but I think the last event. And it almost made me sad that I didn't think of it first. Because, like, my mind doesn't even go to Sunspear at all when it comes to events. It's just, like, not even in my mind at all. Yeah, of course. I'm glad the code actually popped. It makes me sad when I'm sitting here for a long time without giving you guys one. I just think it's more fun to hand them out once the wheel tells us we're allowed to. No. I want that to be a thing so badly. It's like I want to be greedy, but I'll just kill it. So I don't want to deal with that random tangling nonsense. I'm glad you appreciated that. I'm trying to get, like, a little more silly with those videos sometimes, because it's kind of like, you can only take this game seriously for so long. Like, if you've heard me explain pretty much all the troops, all the weapons at some point in time, like, why are you even tuning in at some point? Like, I want to kind of give people a reason to tune into the channel, even if they've been playing for a long time. Like, hopefully it's entertaining in some respect. That's what I pretend. I tell myself that's the reason. And also, it's just like, I'm kind of a goofy dude, so I kind of like to put that kind of stuff in videos. I'm actually starting to build up like a little sound library. I'm sure there's a much better way I could be doing it. Like right now I'm just straight up like going on YouTube, finding videos, and then like taking the whole video and then just stitching out the video part of it and taking the audio sample. I bet you there's an easier way to do it. But that way it's totally working for me. This is the Sky Hero weapon, so unfortunately it hasn't really popped up lately. It's in the Shentang Kingdom, so whenever Shentang comes around, that'll be where you can get it. But basically it'll take like a slice through the sky, and then for every yellow it catches it makes 4 red. Another thing that is really nice about Sky Hero is that its mana generation potential is higher than Flammifer. So Flammifer is kind of like what everyone thinks of when they think of red mana generation, but actually Sky Hero creates more mana. But the other thing that's better about Sky Hero over Flammifer is that, so like there's 64 gems on a board normally, but if I take a slice through, so like, let me just cut this animation down a bunch to some stupid low level. So like, if I slice this down here, if I slice that over there, the mana that it's going to be making is on a smaller board. So like if there's 64 gems normally and I take out 8, so now we're looking at 56 gems. Like there's 56 potential gems out there. So like if it's slicing through the board and then creating 8 gems, it's creating 8 gems within a 56 gem space. Versus if Flammifer's making 10 gems in a 64 board space. Like, it's just a different ratio. So it's actually better. Wow, this is disgustingly slow. What? That looks wild. But since it's creating those gems in a smaller space, like, the odds of you actually getting a 4 or 5 match are a lot better. The other cool thing about Sky Hero is that it'll poke the top dude, and then it'll also poke the bottom dude in a second here, because the animation speed is so gross. This dude. So like, it pokes 2 people, which will also break barriers. It also cleanses yourself when you cast it, which is super nice. Alright, I can't even handle that anymore. It's so gross. So the Sky Hero weapon, like, in terms of mana generation, is actually better than Flammifer by a long shot, as far as I'm concerned. And it has a lot more utility than Flammifer does. So, like, from that perspective, it's also super nice. So, like, if you can ever get your hands on a Sky Hero and you're looking for red mana generation, it's, like, the best. I think that's why I put it in my video at, like, number 7 slot, or, like, number 6 slot, shared with Flammifer. But, Flammifer is better on defense for sure, because the AI has no idea how to use the Sky Hero weapon. Like, I actually fought a Sky Hero having enemy, and they basically just like cast it on a column that had like no yellows in it whatsoever, which is like the saddest thing on the planet to observe. So, yeah. Definitely don't use Flammifer, or don't use Sky Hero on defense, it's just not going to work out for you. But on offense, it is the vastly superior weapon. But unfortunately I have to use Flammifer. I need to change around my brown defense day. Like, the traditional brown defense day is using the Yao and Queen Titania with the Flammifer weapon in a Taipan, it's still like an effective team in the sense that like you can just win sometimes outright with it because it can just loop and the other team never gets a chance to respond. So like in that way you can win. But I think people are so used to it at this point that like it just doesn't win because of it. So I definitely need to swap it out. Kinda don't want to cast this, but I kinda do. After all that. Is there a single? There's not. Oh well. Yeah, my tip if you ever use the Sky Hero weapon is that if there's ever a 4 match of yellows, it's like as close to 100% chance of a 4 or 5 as you can get. There's actually another weapon that a guildie pointed me to that's very, very interesting that I wish I had, but it's an old one. It's called Eternal Flame. So Eternal Flame will let you choose 1 mana gem and turn it red, and then it'll end up making 7 more, I believe is what it is. That weapon is actually extremely interesting because you can actually guarantee you get a 4 or 5 match. So that weapon, if I ever see it, I'm definitely snagging it. And I'm gonna go way out of my way to see if I can create some awesome stuff with that. The weapon by itself should be amazing anyway. But I suspect that that weapon could actually become a much better weapon than even like Sky Hero. Are we dodging? How dare you? Da-da. Remembering I have to spin. It's also really sad how much I've neglected this Underworld Kingdom. My Hall of Guardians being like that low is pretty sad. I think I've just been focusing on other stuff so much that I've been not giving love to my Underworld unless it's for Faction Assault. There's so much almost goodness with the Divine Ishvala right there, but not quite. Again? I'm just gonna do it anyway. Don't even care. There's your reflect for you. Just punched himself in the face. I would imagine this team would probably be effective for like another 30-40 levels. After that, the amount of skull damage I'll take back is gonna hurt more than Divinia can heal it out, I think. Cut that whole side open. I don't like being silenced. I feel like that's also why I like Divinia so much. She kind of caters to my OCD tendencies. I don't literally have OCD, so apologies for anyone that has OCD that gets offended whenever someone says that. But like, whenever I have any kind of debuff on me, I immediately want to get rid of it. Like, I just can't stand debuffs when I'm on attack. So it's kind of like whenever I have Divinia, it just allows me to press a button and get rid of it, and then more than likely keep my turn. And she's amazing otherwise, so like she kind of does all the things that I ever want in a troop anyway. It's just like, I don't know what to do. Pop Divinia. Okay, that worked. It's just kind of how that seems to work all the time. Here's a good one. I got a portrait! Yay! Oh yeah, I already collected all those. How much, Oh, Guardians rounds, sure. Guild tasks, how we doing? Nothing. Seals? Got them all. Got like 3 orbital clans to use. So like if you're in a guild that struggles to reach 40k, obviously save your orbs as much as you can. Because like you can punch yourself up to 40 if you need them. My guild will always get to 40k, so like I just use them whenever I have max seals. Never use an orb before you have max seals. So like if I had 1200 out of 1500 and I used an orb, it would bring me up to 15 out of 15. So like I wouldn't be able to go any higher than the max that the game's already set. So never use an orb of clans no matter what, unless you're already at max seals. I'm sure most people know that, but just in case, figured I'd mention it. We've got another orb there. Happy day. Growth! Of course it's growth. Because of course it's growth. So like this was the this is the PvP team that I was messing around with. This team should smash me to death, but let's see how it goes. The problem that this team has again is like mana start, and then I really don't like Elamagram. So I mean, it's kind of funny, but I'll use it anyway, just to show you guys. I'm always thinking. Kinda would rather have Divinia go. So that. Let's get some Divinia flying. Now I need. I can just go another Divinia. And that was actually very lucky. I mean, I could let Divinia go again. This will actually get me in a pretty good state here. So like, since I'm Dragon Guard, I have triple skull damage, so that's always super fun. Triple skull damage will always make me a happy man. Don't really have anything with my Shadow Dragon, unfortunately, so technically popping this is probably better. And then we'll burn this. So like, to me that win wasn't because my team was better, that win was more just because my manipulation of the board was smarter than theirs. I mean, it's kind of like, it's not hard to be smarter than the AI, but that'll net you wins against teams that you should lose to. Like if there was a player controlling that team, I imagine I would lose. But since it's not, we get to, you know, clean them up a little bit. But in reality, it's kind of just a sad state of affairs. Elamagram is not quite to the level that they should be just yet. I don't find them that compelling of a troop to use, unfortunately. Kind of happy they popped the board there, because I did not like the way it looked. Shadow Dragon. And every single time I'm doing a 4-5 match, my dragons are all getting stronger. That's one thing that's kind of nice. Like, damage will be higher on this, the healing's better on this, the true damage is higher on that, and the damage to all is higher on that. So it's kind of a... Dragon Guard's really nice in that respect as well. I think I'm kind of wanting to do that. Hooray for extra turns. Just kill Ketras. See, this is what I'm talking about. I swear this weapon never loops when it should. But like, it seems to loop less. And I don't know why. There's literally no reason why that should be true. But it seems to be true. It makes me a sad man. So like, this team is better, the version of this that I like better is having World Breaker in there, with Divinia, and then, who else was I using? It's definitely not that other troop. Gonna have to look at the dragon types again. Glitterclaw's kind of funny, actually, that kind of works. Actually, that really works. That's really weird. Huh. I don't think I've ever had Glitter Claw in a team that I actually thought would be useful before. Sad as that is to say. I hate how there's no good green and red banners. I want those to be better. So technically this team should be pretty sick. It has all the mana generation that I would need. Who's frozen? You are. I mean, hell yeah for that start. I feel like the other team loses just because I started so well. See, now I'm so damn tempted to pop off Divinia because I hate how that's there. But realistically, the better move is to do this. It's like I almost need to pop off Divinia just so I don't die. Because of that stupid lust nonsense. What? The AI's been making the weirdest choices. Like, there was a 4-match there, and I don't know why it didn't take it. And I've been seeing this more and more, where the AI is taking weird things. And I don't understand why. Like, I thought I was very consistent with predicting the AI behavior, but lately it's just been doing stuff that I don't understand. Like, it doesn't make sense that they would program it the way it is. It doesn't make sense that they would do what they do. It's almost like it's a bug that it's doing bad stuff now. Because I feel like the AI should be making better moves than that. But that unpredictability of it now is actually making it harder. Oh yeah, I was totally praying for that. I still don't like that. That's no good. This is technically also bad. Whatever. Oh wow. Forgot what team I was facing. Defensive gem matching says, take this one. Just kill you. Again, we don't loop. I'm telling you. It hates us. Almost missed it. Not catching me. Divinia again. I'm basically like unkillable at this point as far as this other team's concerned. Like, I just do not care about Arachne Weaver, I do not care about life and death anymore. Like, Divinia just being on your team at all, like, makes you feel completely safe from all of that stuff. Can I kill them with Divinia? Yeah, buddy. My favorite kills. The kills that you're not supposed to be able to do. Troops that, like, aren't supposed to kill, and then you kill with them. It's the best. The trick with Divinia, though, is you always have to make sure that you've got some kind of storm situation going on. You definitely do not want to run Divinia if you are not... well, I shouldn't say you don't want to run Divinia unless you're running a storm, but it just works a lot better when there's a storm there. Kinda want a yellow or a red. Gimme. That's a yellow. Oh! That lucky match. Alright, let's just get rid of that debuff and then play the game. I should have made a Firestorm first. Oh well. Alright, Firestorm now. Why doesn't it loop as often? I do not know. But it ruins my life every time it doesn't happen. It's just less predictable. I'd rather do that. Divinia also mana drain and mana burn immune. It's another thing cool about Divinia. I really don't have to be thinking this hard, admittedly. It's just not giving me the mana colors that I want. Just need to do this once. Change up the storm to what I want it to be. And then start hurting people. Kill it with Divinia. No. This team is actually really good. I don't think it has literally any capability in Guild Wars because it's not color matched. It's almost green. Can I make this pure green? Missing Divinia would suck though. I need a green cleanser. Mercy. Mercy kind of works. Moonrabbit would also work. Moonrabbit would actually... I'd rather have Mercy. Not there. Son of a bitch. This team could work. It's not nearly as good though. Divinia kind of makes it sing because then I can explode the board, which will help me build up World Breaker faster. In theory, this team's kind of okay. Mana generation gets even worse on my Mace of Claws though. I'd rather have a cleanser that takes purple and green specifically. I feel like that's not a thing. No. I was gonna say that's not a thing. I don't want to trade my Mace of Claws because that makes this whole dragon team sing. I mean, I could definitely put in like a Sylvamora in there or something like that, but I'd much rather not. Like, I would need a dragon that takes green specifically. That's also useful in some other way. Like, don't really like that. Don't really like that. Could put Dragonette in there just for kicks. Convert all blue to a random color. It's kind of like, eh. No. Yeah, there's no like perfect team with this, unfortunately. But the Divinia version of it is actually really, really nice. I think I like this team a lot, actually. I almost want to just like run a red-brown banner instead of the green, because I don't care about purple. I'd rather get the extra mana out of there. I'm already popping bottles? Amazing. Oh man, this game is super over. As long as I don't get popped by Glaceon like right this second. Already donezo. Would love to do a Glitter Claw right there, but alas. Thank God for that, Jesus Christ. It was way more intense than it needed to be. It's like, why are you wasting our time? We both know this game is over already. Wow. Poor Glitter Claw, it's just sitting there doing nothing. I want to use it so bad, but there's just no opportunity to. Use it effectively, I should say. I should have used it to finish off the Leprechaun. Poor Glitter Claw. I'll get you next time. Also, feel free to ask any questions instead of just literally listening to me rant the entire time, if the mood strikes you. I'm clearly good enough at entertaining myself, but make sure you guys are getting something out of it too. Unless you just want to observe the ravings and rants of a madman. Ooh, that was close. Oh, we're against life and death. I just realized that. I play on mobile and PC. So, like, I played on my phone pretty much exclusively for the longest time. And then eventually decided that I should probably play on my computer every now and then. Alright. We're fine now that we got that. Just needed literally one Divinia cast. Tina does make it a little scarier though. But Divinia is so damn cool. Kinda doesn't matter. Song is so angry sounding. Yay, I get to use Glitter Claw. Bam! How fun was that? I mean, the right answer is killing this guy, but let's just not. That weapon is so perfect for Dragon Claw. It's like, the fact that it burns somebody, even though this team has no one that burns on it, the fact that the weapon does just makes me able to kill in ways that I wouldn't be able to otherwise, which is just so fun. So instead of taking the obvious 5 or 4 match, I think I'm going to take this one, which is going to get me a chance to surge on both a brown and a green, which I suspect will have... whatever. I'll just do that. I was about to like make an argument for trying to catch that, but getting 10 mana guaranteed is probably a little better than that. Yeah. Feels like that was worse than it should have been. Oh, you guys are in for some hurting now. Oh, again. Oh, it feels so good. I mean, I think I'm just gonna do Glitter Claw anyway, because it's just so darn fun. I never get to use Glitter Claw. Now that I have an excuse to, it's so much more fun. What are my even stats this time around? I lost 4 times? What crap is... Oh, because I'm messing around with teams. Okay. I'm like, how is that possible? Not that it's literally impossible, but my win rate is generally much better than that. Keep having to remember I care about brown mana with this team. Is it just me, or are we fighting like the same teams over and over again? Kinda feel like I've seen this team too much already. Oh, Glitter Claw, you are so fun. And then you just make World Breaker so stupid? How fun is that? Let's change up the storm to what I care about. And then hurt this guy. Level 380, I'm assuming you're talking about on the Hall of Guardians delve? Alright, so don't have Iron Gut. I'm assuming that means you have other stuff. So, let me show you some teams. So what we're... Is it those 2 colors, I believe? Let me actually just go into the menu to make sure I don't just recommend you a team that you can't even use. Wah. Apparently I'm in the middle of a delve of some kind. Not that team. Oh, I'm in the middle of one. Alright, hold on. run away. Give me my level 1 chest. Yeah. Alright, so... Mang Weapon, yes. Gimlet, yes. Other troops, yeah, what was that? Base rarity sort. So, I'm looking for convertery types. Divinish Bala, I can already tell, is going to be really good. So I got my brown mana out of this, I get extra yellow mana out of this, and skulls. That's going to help me get barriers with this person, this is going to help me get skulls and also help fill up herself and Gimlet. So ideally I would be looking for somebody right now that takes yellow that converts into red, which I believe Infernal King does. Yeah, he takes all the browns. Yeah, alright, perfect, damn. That team should be pretty darn great. It's a little bit of mana blocked, but Divinish Bala matched up with all the gem converting and spamming that you've got going on, you shouldn't have trouble filling her, really. So, I mean, Infernal King's not perfect there. I would probably see if I could find somebody else. I mean, even Wrath is, like, decent in that scenario, because he takes brown as well. He also converts into more brown, so you'd have tons of brown and yellow conversions with this. This team would also be really effective. If you're looking for somebody that cleanses, which you might. I mean, you could even do this. I'm less in love with Gimlet in that scenario. I think I would rather have Wrath in that scenario. Yeah, I wouldn't want Herdmaster over that. But yeah, I mean, this team would work. The one I showed you before would also work. I mean, the Infernal King team, like, totally would be fine. I think you would make enough mana that you wouldn't care that your mana blocked like that, because you've got the browns there. She's making you yellows. He's making you extra reds. He's also... well, he's fighting Gimlet for greens, though. I don't really like that, actually. Wrath would probably be better, then. Because he's going to get you more browns. He's taking away blues, which we don't care about. There's no blue mana gem interactions here. There's no blue mana gem interactions there. So these two will actually probably be better together. So I'd probably run with that. Banner-wise, I would care about yellow and red. Not at the cost of... yeah, that's perfect. So I would say give that team a whirl. You'd probably find that fun. I'm kind of really digging this team, though. The fact that I have it used for Glitter Claw has got me, like, unnecessarily excited. The problem with this team, again, is going to be speed. So, like, as long as I don't get eviscerated in the first, like, 3 turns, I should be good to go. It's always just that Glaceon that scares me. Yeah, of course. Hope it works out. I mean, I haven't played that team before, but I see no reason why that shouldn't work. The thing that you always just need to be careful about whenever you're using a team that looks like the one I just sent you guys is that don't just spam stuff because you can. Like, make sure your barriers are up. Like, you always have to be monitoring your defensive capability in that scenario. The last thing you want to do is just be all willy-nilly about spamming around stuff, and then next thing you know, you just took a skull to the face and then you died. Because at that level, you can theoretically die relatively easily. So definitely don't just be casting stuff all randomly. But as long as you're, like, a little bit careful with your gem matching, that team should be able to take you pretty much anywhere you want to go. want to face like more meta teams because I feel like this team might be able to hack it. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter because I can't use it in Guild Wars. I just feel compelled to try. So a way that you can kind of test your teams, usually what I try and do, I look at the leaderboard and I see who's out there, who's got like a high like, so this team for instance is super legit. And I think that's actually Green Day viable. Yeah, totally, no, Miraji. So like, if I can beat this team with this team, that means this team is super good, but this team is taking perfect advantage of speed, and they're controlling the storm. So like, I'm in for a bad time against this team. But, if I can hack it out, it would be cool. It'd be cool though. Yeah? Alright. Now I've got the storms looking the way I want them. And I can kill the Essence of Evil outright, I assume. Archer. Slight chance it'll dodge it. Oh, it's only level... No, it's class level 100. Do they have dodge? Yeah. So 30% chance they dodge that, so I don't really feel great about that, but I do need to kind of kill it. Because if he explodes again, he's definitely going to get... Alright, here we go. Why you do this to me? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Well, that's the power of Wild Queen for you. I'm like certainly dead now because I don't have enough mana to cast this. Unless I can pull off some really fancy footwork right now, but I don't see even an opportunity to. No. Literally can't prevent death. Literally. That is kind of funny though. Back to the drawing board. Watch I win on random skull nonsense. Nah, I won't. That's the problem with the Dragon Guard class. If I'm trying to use pure dragons like that, I would need a way to get mana faster. I wonder if just running it with Gimlet would just make it that much better. If I put Gimlet in place of Glitter Claw to try and get Mace running faster. But then I need a purple... Ideally, I'd be using some kind of purpley dragon. Like Elamagrum, but I don't want to use Elamagrum. See, that brings me back to my other team that I had before. Dragons are so close to greatness, it makes me so mad. It's just missing like a little something. I just need like an empowered converter on dragons or like even a swift one that doesn't suck. So if I'm looking at swift dragon types, I think there's only like... I don't think there's any swift dragons actually. I think there's a couple fast ones, but there's no swift ones. Where am I going? Yeah, no swift ones. There's only these 3 fast ones, like Dragonian Monk being fast is like, who cares? The amount of mana you're getting from it's not enough. We're so close on dragons. We're so close. We're not there yet, though. That's a shame. Well, I think I may wrap the stream here, just because I realize I've been chatting your guys' ear off for a long, long time. We'll give the wheel another aggressive spin here, actually. What am I using for this? Oh, this is what I was using my my Warden on. Because this team with Warden's pretty fun. I think actually what I was using when I was trying to do this with Pure Warden was using Doom Club here, putting this there. I wouldn't need Mirage Queen if I was doing that though. So then I must have been doing this one with Queen Aurora, like this, so they're all beast. This team's just stupid though. It's slow as heck. This team's insanely effective, but it's also like insanely slow. Like you'll win, but it's not gonna feel fun. I was like, what are the odds that Moonrabbit literally doesn't have a match right now? Let's just get tons of mana for funsies. I like half forgot what they converted. Make more blues just for kicks? Wow! It's like literally... That's what's saying, like, that's so awkward. Pure Warden class. And if I wanted this to be Green Day, I could totally run it with a Doomglaive instead. It's not nearly as good though, because I don't want to mana block Forest Guardian so much, and the conversion stuff that I would prefer to be converting is actually the greens. The problem is that I'm taking away all of the browns, so like Doomglaive doesn't really have as much value from that perspective. I mean, you'll get it full mana, but you're kind of like praying that there's some kind of match that shows up versus like them just naturally being there, which is kind of a problem. I didn't even check to see what team we're facing. We're totally fighting life and death, aren't we? So let's observe a Warden taking down the life and death team. I mean, the whole team's barriered at this point. They still have Graveseer though, so like they're gonna turn all these to purple in a second. So it'd be smarter to actually be doing the yellow. No, I'll do the reds just to try and get a loop. No loops. Is this not even an Orb Weaver? It is. I just got insanely lucky. That's fine. I mean, I'm already blessed. It's not gonna kill him, so I'd much rather not do that. Alright, that's in a good spot. There's like really no reason to do this at all. Yeah, all the doomed weapons are insanely good. Like honestly, whenever you get an opportunity to get one of the doomed weapons, like you should 1000% do that. Not the life-giving ones. Those ones are trash, at least as of right now. But all the other ones, they are so good. So good. So yeah, I mean the Warden class isn't useless, but like the only reason that this team as a Warden is like somewhat effective versus others is that I'm running this with you know, Forest Guardian here, which is giving everybody barriers. So like I have 2 opportunities of giving my team barriers constantly and a really good amount of damage output with these 2 weapons. Yeah, this is PvP. So like this is a pure green team that you could theoretically use on Guild Wars Day, for instance. So like from that point of view, it's actually pretty cool. If you don't have like Wild Queen, for instance, which is like a very common team that you'll see me show on stream, this team can totally do that. Oh wow, I should have probably paid more attention that I was fighting them. It's the power of barriers for you. Wow, that was way scarier than it needed to be. That's so close to greatness, it hurts. So Queen Aurora gives everybody life, and Moonrabbit also gives everybody life, so anytime I'm casting either of these, I'm getting tons and tons of health. So like from that point of view, like, killing this team is insanely hard. The way you would kill a team like this is that this team has no cleanse. It has a bless for this troop, but that's it. So like, if you were trying to fight this team, for instance, like debuffs would be something you'd want to focus on more. Because if I get debuffed, like if I get death marked by a life and death, for instance, like I'm just sitting duck, like I can't do anything about it. So should be fine. But I mean, this is kind of like the ideal lineup when it comes to Warden. Like, there's really no other lineup that you would want to run. It's either Doom Club or Doomblade or Doomglaive. Those are the only two you would ever pretty much use with these. Greens are fine, actually. I don't really care. Yellows. More greens. So this is a scenario where, like, if I'm trying to set up my Doomglaive, I can actually make browns. So that way I can possibly get more of those. But now I'm in this awkward scenario where I, like, oh, there's a 4-match. I was going to say I don't really have anything that I want. More yellows. The only reason I matched yellows there is just because it was more likely to loop than something else. So, like, there wasn't a cooler reason than that. Oh, there's Doomglaive. So used to it not being there, I forgot to even look. This poor guy, he's just trying to live his life and I'm sitting here blasting him. Yeah, I can show you my Brown Guild Wars team. Brown is another one of those days that's really sucky. But I can definitely show you my Brown Guild Wars team. So this is kind of like your classic. So when you're thinking of classic Brown Day teams, the reason this is not Titan right now is because I remember I had to switch it for one of the teams because I needed to freeze them. I think it was the Gob Truffle team specifically. I was up against the Gob Truffle team, so I needed some way of freezing. Glaceon will do it, but it doesn't fill fast enough, so having a snap freeze was really important. But, like, this is your most classic, I should just search for King. I love this song. I swear it's, oh my god. Alright, fine. King Blood, this guy. So, like, this is your normal one. So when you're up against, like, other teams, basically this entire lineup, here, I'll just change it all the way. This is the most classic Brown Day team, banner-wise. You'd want to go brown and yellow. Yeah, Frost Mage is super amazing. So this is like your classic Brown Day team, if you're looking for stuff like that. This is, again, like your classic. This has trouble against any team that has Taipan on it, though. The classic defense against this team is someone will be using Taipan, which will take away literally every brown on the board, which hurts your start. So, like, another alternative to this that you can use is actually using someone like Daughter of Ice, and then turning this into an actual blue team. So, like, you use Daughter of Ice, you've got Vash in there. You've got Megavore in there. And then I think I do it this way. Banner-wise, I switch it up to brown and blue. Yep. So, like, this is an alternative that you could use. This is like a sneaky blue team. The thing that sucks about this is that the true damage on Emperor Corvash kind of hurts your score a little bit because you're, like, hitting under their armor, so you're not getting credit for the armor piece of the damage there. But this is a sneaky way of also getting around Taipan, because this team actually cares about blue more than it cares about brown, because your damage potential is coming out of these two troops. So, like, that's another Brown Day team you can use. A lot of people like to use Obsidious. Actually, don't even... No, I think I'm thinking of Red Day, actually. Red Day, I think, is where Obsidious is up top there. Let me see who else I would even put there with Obsidious if I tried to run him in the top slot. Glaceon wouldn't help me at all. Wrath would be kind of interesting. Hey, Haley. So the reason you get lower Guild Wars score for using true damage is because if you're using true damage, so, like, let's just look at this troop for instance. If I did true damage to this guy and I killed him with it, like I used Tina or I used Emperor Corvash, like, I'm not doing any damage to the armor, so the total amount of damage I'm doing is 74, versus if I killed him outright, it would be doing 144. So 144 total points of damage is actually a higher score than just doing 74 points of health damage. So like if you're using true damage in Guild Wars, you're actually hurting your score potential. What I've been told is that Megavore actually counts all of the armor destruction. So like even if you wipe out all of the armor on all the troops in the other side, it's actually giving you full credit for all that armor destroyed. So from what I've heard, he does not hurt your score, but someone like Emperor Corvash does. So that's min-maxing, honestly. Like if you're at the point where like winning at all is a trouble, like by all means use a team that's gonna win. Like always win over trying something like sketchy. But yeah, that's those are kind of your classic teams. Just using the straight Skull Smasher is usually like the way to go, because once that team starts looping, it basically never stops. But Brown Day is one of those days where like I want to have better teams. Like I want to use Daughter of Ice, but when you look at troops that are brown and blue, that have all the colors, there's really not that great troops to work with. Like War's no good, Stonehammer's not that great, Pharaoh's Ra's not super good. Corvash is very, very nice, but he hurts your score potential a little bit. And then there's like nothing else in here really. So like that's kind of the problem, is that it's really hard to build an effective team on Brown Day using Daughter of Ice, which is our only empowered troop that's worth talking about. So like if I try to put Stonehammer up here, Stonehammer's creating red and brown. So now I'm basically looking at red troops. But the problem with red troops on this is because Daughter of Ice is taking them all away. So just by casting Daughter of Ice, I've already removed all the reds, so I'm hurting whoever else I'm about to put on this team by default. So like that also super sucks. Like, I don't know, this team just looks so awkward to use. And there's no real good weapon I can put underneath all this, because if you're looking at brown weapons that mana generate, because this team needs mana generation so badly right now. Like, there's all these mixed weapons. Yeah, that team would depend on, like, Megavore being your initial cast, so that way you could get the full score potential out of it. This is another team that I wanted to use really badly, because in theory, Rage Reaver should work really nicely with Ketris. So they're both brown, they both take brown. This is making a bunch of red based on Tauros, but now you're limiting yourself based on Tauros. So like, my watch is telling me to breathe. So like now we're looking at brown Tauros specifically, and there's actually somewhat decent ones, but they don't also take red, so that kind of hurts. I'm looking for true type Tauros. Base rarity. So like you're kind of stuck with these. And then it's like there's really no good options here. Like Soothsayer's kind of crap, and like running a team like this is just not really going to work that well. You'd have to run this with the Shaman class. So like Rage Reaver right now should create a good amount of red, which will be great for Ketris. Soothsayer's giving you another stat, but from a mana generation perspective, this is so weak. The banner you'd want to run would be like this. Probably that over this, honestly. Actually no, probably this. So like, this is a team that you could theoretically use, but it's honestly not that good. So you wouldn't? Oh, I'm using the wrong team. I don't want to forfeit. I'll win with this real quick. I feel like there should be something here. There's not. Kinda would rather get it this way. So I'm gonna make more browns just to hopefully set up something. Nothing, huh? Alright, I'm gonna just take a regular ass skull head. This is why on a pure green team this is so rough, because I would much rather be using Doom Club right now so I can turn all these greens into death. Wait, I'm just gonna cast this just because. No, it's not gonna do it. Just wanted to use my other team. I'm just gonna make a bunch of crap on the board so I can just. I mean, whatever. Just start hurting him somehow. Not a firebomb team, come on. Boo on that. Where did I even make that team? Oh, blue attack. Haha. Or brown attack, that is. Do not want to fight a firebomb team. There you go. That team's actually good, too. Team score's a little lower, but that team's still totally legit. So, like, here's the problem with this team. Kind of have a mana generation problem by default. I want to get as many blues and browns as I can in a single cast. This actually looks pretty good. So like that's probably my best start. And then I can rather cast this again. This will get me a lot. So like I've got Ketris right now, but he's doing like 100 and some odd damage. I mean, against this team, I'm just gonna kill someone just because this team's lower stat level, but normally this wouldn't kill. But I've got enough for Rage Reaver. And then Ketris. See, this isn't even fair, though. This team has lower stats, so this is kind of like picking on some poor innocent child. That was not a fair thing. The heck? It's a really awkward team too. I mean, that was just very convenient. Casting Rage Reaver now would actually be... Is that Life and Death? No, it's Black Manacles. Casting this isn't so great because there's not that much red on the board as it stands. They're a little clustered, though. I mean, it's worth trying, I guess. The troop that I care about on this thing is Mirage Queen. Fortunately, Mirage Queen's about to do a whole lot of nothing. They're entangled, I'll take like a little damage. It's probably better to just kill the Mirage Queen, honestly. What? You silly leprechaun. Let's see, can I pop like most or all of the board with just this? This will pop most of the board, I'm pretty sure. I'm missing that little bit. Kind of mad this team worked. I'm trying to make a point about how this team isn't that effective, and it's like working. I mean, I guess I should be happy if this team actually works. It just, I don't suspect it does, because I've tried it before and it didn't work very well. I mean, this team should wipe the floor with me. Defensive gem matching means I pay attention to blues and yellows. There's nothing there. I have to be super careful when I do something like this, because I might just give it to him by accident. None of these gems that it's giving me are actually helpful though. Browns and blues are what I'm after. These are all kind of awkward. This will get rid of a lot of the yellow. It'll also break up this. So this is probably the right play for many reasons. So I definitely want to chop up some of this, but I would love to get full mana off of this cast. 2, 3. This will get it to me, but it doesn't break up the board as much. This gets me 3, not as good. Still gets me 3. No. No, I think that was my best one. This one. Doesn't really break up the board a lot, but when Divinish Bala casts, it's going to do basically nothing. Wow, that critical hit. Oh, Soothsayer's stealing all the mana. You bastard. Of course you are. Alright, so now I have to actually pay attention again to what they're going to convert. Right now they're going to set me up for a 5 match. And that's all? Or they're just going to attack. Alright, good. I'm kind of glad they did that, because I need to get rid of that Soothsayer. So they're going to get that, and that's it. This isn't going to help them. This might be better. I think I like this better. Now I have literally no reds to work with though, which is kind of a problem. This doesn't give him a 4 match. It doesn't either. Ugh, it's so awkward. I also don't want to create too many reds on the board because I don't want Quillen to do anything cool. That'll give me Ketris. Just patiently wait to see if I die or survive. Ketris does 3 damage now. Rage Reaver is my main damage source now. Unless I can super stat pump him somehow. Oh yeah, that's game right there. Yeah, so as I said, in conclusion, this is why this team is not good. Because it doesn't start fast enough. Soothsayer is not a good enough troop to use. So, unfortunately, Brown Day is still one of the toughest ones. But those ones I posted to you guys is pretty much like generally staple teams. If you can get Mountain Crusher out, like if you're not fighting against Taipan, you pretty much don't have to worry about using any Mountain Crusher team. But if they do have Taipan, that's when you have to get a little more creative about what kind of teams you want to put together. Ragnagord is somebody that's also very useful on Brown Day because he's swift and he explodes the board. So that's somebody else you can use to try and help you out on Brown Day. But I think since you all were so beautiful and nice and the wheel was not our best friend today, I will make sure to give you guys another code right now. So I'm planning on wrapping up the stream. And I don't want you guys to suffer because the wheel is not our friend. So one last code on the way out the door. Just for you beautiful, lovely people. But thank you again, guys, as always, for tuning in. Make sure, again, you're saving all your keys for Aquaticus on Friday. Good luck with the invasion. The invasion's super fun this time around. But I believe that is all for this stream here. So, as always, I love you guys. Good luck with everything, and I will see you in the next one. Mwah.